All right, we're live.
Hey everybody, I'm Maddy.
I'm Ryan, and this is Insomniacs in the morning. Is there a paint chip in my coffee?
Oh,
Where,
gross. Wait,
where
why
the
would that
fuck did
happen?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, what is this? Why is it here?
All right, that's
That sums up
Insomniacs
the
in the
week pretty
morning.
well.
Our show. Hello. Hi.
Hello. I don't know if anybody's listening yet, but welcome to Insomniacs in the morning. We're here to bring you some fun news this week because literally nothing else has been fun this week. Can you
Yeah.
tell? Because both
Um,
Maddie's and my hair are like a total mess right now.
yeah, I don't know, man. We're not really going to talk about the election because
No. It's on our list, but like we don't need to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to
um
talk about it.
nobody does, but I mean, we do talk about it on Twitter and stuff
We
and
do. We
what.
do. And we
So
talk about the
all of
repercussions
us
of
want to know
the
that stuff.
election either
But
way. So,
here we're gonna talk about other stuff.
yeah,
So
here we're going to
hopefully that's
be
what you're interested in because
yeah.
that's what we're gonna do today.
Yay. So we're going to bring like good news. We're going to be good. I'm going to start off by saying that I woken up this morning because yesterday I started up like this is a fun fact for everybody. You don't even know this, but like I have Basecamp, which I like, record all the stuff that I do every day and
I
the
did
activities I do.
that.
I started like what?
I did know about that. I just
Oh yeah,
never
well,
look at
okay,
it.
but like I
But you
started
shared,
a
yeah.
thing called Good Morning Ryan, and it's like a list of shit that I got to do every morning. As soon as I wake up, I just open that like after I've walked the dog, and it's like so I've already been working out, which is helps get the blood flowing in the morning. So I recommend doing that, even if you're like I'm tired. So
Like working
hi.
out first thing in the morning or setting up a base camp or both of those
No,
things.
no,
What's it?
the base camp is like it's called Good Morning Ryan, and it's like, all right, here's the things you gotta do. You gotta look at jobs, and then it's like you gotta make yourself some coffee and oatmeal, check your social media, check your emails, do this other thing. Because I always like wake up in the morning and just to get lost checking Twitter and Facebook, and then 2 hours go by, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, especially now.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I hear you. That's a good idea having like a to-do list for when you wake up.
yeah,
Um, I
but
have
let's.
one, but it's one item. But
Oh,
yeah,
it's like wake up
like
today,
get
Maddie.
up.
That's it. Be a person today. Drink
Yeah,
coffee.
continue to exist today.
I mean, I know sometimes we don't want to do that. So,
Do you want to talk about your Mr. Sinister birthday cake?
yeah,
Because
let's
I
talk
do.
about good things. So, I know that everybody's sort of like in
This
a
was a
slump
little
right
bit
now.
ago. Yeah,
But
but
this,
let's go in a time machine.
let's,
Remember
let's, well,
October
right, like
when
right before all
things
this shit
seemed
went down.
yeah.
So, like we had the Halloween weekend, which was also my birthday weekend, which I all amped up on here because I was like so excited for it.
Yeah, and
And
it was pretty fucking great as
oh,
far
it
as I
was
could
like great
tell.
all the way through. I mean, Friday, like I worked in my friend's haunted house. Then Saturday, I came to Massachusetts. I drank with my parents. Steph came over too, and my parents kept on being like, "Are you and Steph dating?" I'm like, "No, what?"
Your parents have always wanted you to be straight, but they're still pretty supportive even in
I
spite of
think they
that.
just like really like stuff. I think that's all it really is.
You say
Anyway,
that, but they wanted you to date Katie for a long time too.
well, they really also like Katie. So
It's true.
they just really like my friends because I have good taste in people.
Hmm.
But so I did that, and then Sunday we had my birthday at a tavern, which was great because Steph and I were like late to it, and I was like, "Fuck, we're so late." And Steph's like, "Don't worry about it. None of our friends are on
Everyone is
time."
gonna
Like
be late.
literally nobody was there when we got there, and we were late. And Rye showed up maybe like 15 minutes later. You and Mary Ellen showed up like an hour and a half later. Like,
Yeah, because the train was messed up that day, remember? And then
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Uh,
But we got there eventually, and then Carol got there, and then
And
the
it was
gang got
great. And
there.
they made me a Mr. Sinister cake, from the
That
X-Men
was
because
back
I'm
at
obsessed
Steph's
with Mr.
house.
Sinister, and it
We
was so cool.
we
Okay,
spent
wait, there's a
half
video
of
of it, which is so funny.
Are you
Um,
actually going to put the video up for public
I
consumption
mean,
or
I
is
don't know,
that
probably not,
yeah.
but
So
it's on
this is a
Facebook.
video that only our friends can enjoy that's on Facebook, but I'll recreate it for you now. So we were all singing happy birthday. Steph's carrying this huge sheet cake out that has a beautiful
Mr. Sinister
creation of
face on
Mr.
it. If you
Sinister
could call
on it.
Mr. Sinister beautiful.
I mean, it's a beautiful cake is what I mean.
It was
Like it
really good
looked
too.
incredible. And so it's like it's perfect. She's carrying it out. And then I think she was trying to tilt it up to like show you the
Uh,
Mr.
but
Sinister, I
like by
think.
tilting it downward.
Yeah, well, she was like tilting it sort of this direction, like towards you.
Yeah.
But the cake is on a layer of cardboard that is itself on a layer of plastic, and
That's
those
like very
things are
flimsy.
attached to one another. Like if you buy a cake at the grocery store, there's like the cardboard that the cake is on, and then there's a little plastic black circle, or in this case a rectangle. So anyway, this cake starts sliding very quickly like onto
Ryan,
the
Patella?
floor, everything. And like I don't even know who caught it, but it was like a mutual
Oh,
thing where
it's
everyone leapt forward and simultaneously caught the cake and saved the cake, and then
there
we
was
ate
also a
it.
lot of screaming in that moment.
We
I think it was
screamed.
mostly like Mary Ellen and I that dove for the cake because that is exactly what Mary Ellen and I do.
I think everyone, it was like we just went into bullet time for a second, and we were like, save
We all
the
had to channel the flash.
cake.
It was very important.
It
So
was super
it was
emotional
a
and
good
great.
weekend, and
The cake was saved. That's
it
what's
was. We
important.
watched a Goofy movie, which we're going to talk about later on the show.
At your birthday party, yes.
Yes, and then on Halloween, I went to Salem in Massachusetts,
you went
which
to
I never did.
Salem.
But I'm going to talk about this because this is just on par with all the fucking crazy shit that's going on. So we get to Salem. Steph has a friend that lives there, so we were able to just walk downtown and park right outside downtown, which is great. We didn't have to deal with any of that bullshit. I've never done this before, considering we grew up in Massachusetts. But we get there and we're like, we should eat something before we start drinking for like hours. So we get to this pizza place, which, by the way, we have the person that was hosting was Holtzman. So I was like,
It's
thanks,
Halloween.
Holtzman.
I
Everyone
would think you would
like,
see a lot of Holtzmans.
there were, but like,
But
and
this
also
Holtzman
in
was
general
perfect.
with Salem, there was like just a lot of cosplayers. It was either like there wasn't like people walking around in Halloween costumes. It was like people our
In
age
nerd
walking
outfits.
around like in really advanced costumes. So anyway, like we sit down, I thank Holtzman, and nobody else knows who she is except for me because I'm a giant
What?
fucking nerd.
Oh my god.
I know.
Well, that's because not enough people went to see the new Ghostbusters. Quite
Right.
frankly. That's
So
the real reason.
So this pizza place we went to also had like nerd themed pizzas. So there was like an Emma Frost pizza, which was like white pizza with garlic and stuff. So we got that. We got a drink called the Scarlet Witch. So I had Emma and Scarlet Witch at the same time, which was fucking great. But anyway, the point of this story is that we're sitting outside because like we get there and they're like, oh, we don't have any seats. And we're like, well, what about that seat right there outside? They're like, well, it's a little cold. Do you want to sit outside? We're like, we don't fucking care. We're going to be outside all night. Like, you know, it's
also,
Halloween.
you're pretty cold-blooded when it comes to like being outside. Anyway.
It was fine. I had a flask with whiskey in it. I was warm enough. So we sat down and suddenly we hear like somebody on a megaphone like screaming, and it's like some priest because they think, you know, like it's Halloween, so they want to try and convert people.
Evangelicals come out and they tell you.
And so he's like going on about how everybody's gonna burn in hell and this and that, and then like the witches come out and they're like, you need to respect our our culture, and they're screaming at each other, and the priest ends up getting cornered onto his podium because a ring of gay men like just circled around him and just made a barrier, and he couldn't touch them because he didn't want to get the gay. So like,
whoa. How did he get out? What happened?
I don't know. I left. I was like, that's enough of this shit. Like, can't do this anymore. I'm like, precursor things to come. So I left, and we went to bars and stuff, and it was really great. But like, we sat there listening to this guy yell until eventually, I think the cops had to come, and they're like, okay, you got to leave, dude. Like, the cops were like, you got to get out of here.
A disturbance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, he is a minority in Salem, though.
That's true. He was. He did have like a Captain America with him that was also trying to convert people.
Oh, barf.
I know, right?
There's nothing worse than nerds who are also close-minded. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, that or you just bought a costume
Captain
from
America,
a Halloween store. You know what I mean? Like maybe has never seen a Captain America or a Marvel movie. I don't know. So anyway,
really at least see Marvel movies. They just don't understand them.
Can you turn yourself up a little? You're just a little soft, or you're just talking quietly. So it would.
Go ahead.
That's much better.
Continue.
So it was a really good weekend. And then, you know, like since then, I don't remember what I did last weekend. What did I do? Did I see anyone? I don't like. I don't fucking remember what I've been doing for a week.
God, me either. The whole week has been kind of a blur.
It really has.
I don't remember what I was doing. You know what? I was in the studio probably.
Like you probably were, and you were also recording more episodes of Let's Watch Two Movies with Mary Ellen, which I've been listening to, and am fucking in love with.
Sadly, I love our show, and everybody seems to really like our show so far. Sadly, this week we're not recording an episode because this week has been
Literally just hell.
crazy. But we were going to record an episode, and so we'll be back, but we aren't doing one this week. So
That's fair.
Preliminarily,
We weren't even sure if we were
we've
going to
only
do this
got
show this
4
week.
episodes,
Yeah.
and Mary Ellen and I are already like, this week is too much. We can't do it.
Well, it certainly reminded me how much I love Mary Ellen, and I miss having a show with her. I'm pretty much jealous that you get to do a show with her.
Yeah, well, that could happen again someday. I have hopes for Team Sexy Bane to come back.
I think Team Sexy Bane is going to make a comeback, considering
so.
all the craziness going in my life previous to the election. So
I think it's going to happen. It seems.
I think so too.
More and more possible every day.
I didn't mention this, but I did on Saturday. I worked for Felicia again for her 2-year anniversary of Heady, which I talk about a lot on this show. The one. For anybody that doesn't know what it is, it's a like indoor festival that happens once a month in New Haven, Connecticut at Pacific Standard Tavern. And it was a really awesome night. I was even dancing. Like, they had this guy that was playing like old school industrial, and I was like, well, I got to stop doing photography right now because I have to like
dance.
Yep. I really was it was a good night. They had a raffle. They were raffling off like all this beautiful art. So
that's awesome. It sounds really cool. Every time you show me videos of it, I'm like, it seems great. And it's cool that something like that is happening in Connecticut, which seems to be just sort of a wasteland.
Yeah, it's a good place for like artists.
Of no parties happening most of the time. But
yeah,
Felicia makes it happen, which is very cool.
She does. So, and you can see pictures of it on the website and maybe a video eventually. All right. We've talked enough about ourselves. I know people are tuning in because they want to like listen to like feel good stuff. And we're just like, we had Halloween, and
well, we ate a Mr. Sinister cake, and if that's not news, I don't know what is. Okay, so
let's talk about working off the Mr. Sinister cake.
Workout tips. It's more like working off my depression, especially this week. So I finally downloaded those Billy Blanks videos that you've been talking to me about for like ever. And
aren't they ridiculous but so much fun?
They are very fun. I haven't figured out a system yet for like what order I want to do them in.
I just click on things.
What ones I might want to actually buy. I got them in ways that may or may not have been legal, but I just wanted to try a bunch of them.
They're literally on YouTube. You don't even need to like download them illegally because they've already been uploaded to YouTube. They're like 30 years old. All
right, I'll stop feeling guilty about it then. So these videos kind of remind me, if anybody's done P90X videos, which I've talked about on the show before, I used to do, but they're very time consuming, which is part of why I stopped. There's a Kenpo X video in P90 that I kept doing even after I stopped doing P90 because it was like my favorite one. These are a lot like that. So if you did the Kenpo for P90 and you're like, I just want more workouts that are kind of similar to that, this was very similar. It's not like kickboxing. I've done kickboxing videos, but this is, at least the videos that I tried so far were a lot of like punches and kicks. Is that mostly what they're like?
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be cardio, so you're going to be jumping around like a fucking frog, essentially.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, but there's a lot of so I used to take karate when I was a kid, which I think I've probably talked about on this show before.
You have.
But yeah, so there's a lot of stretches that reminded me of like the same stretches that I did as a kid, and every time I do them, it like instantly takes me back to like being in high school and being like, yeah, I'm endlessly flexible, and I have no appreciation of like how good I am at this, and when I'm old, I'm not going to be as good at this. So like, you know, that stretch where you're I don't know if I can imitate it for you, but
we can see Maddie turn into Wii Fit Trainer over here,
which no one can see my legs right now, but I'm doing a lunge.
Maddie's doing like a squat forward.
Yeah, so like you put one leg forward and then you put the hand that isn't on the side of your body as the foot that's forward.
Oh yeah, I know what you're doing. This is like a Billy Banks classic right here.
Yeah, so like you put the other side of your body and you go like that. I mean, you can't see me. But.
No, you can. It's hard to describe what you're doing. She's doing like she's got like one leg forward and then
the other leg
in a squatting position, and then her arms are both up, like one's up, one's down. You kind of have to swing them opposing to the leg that's squatting forward.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called, but it's in a lot of martial arts videos, and it's a very good stretch just in general. And I don't know why it only appears in martial arts videos, because it's actually
Because
really great to do for any kind of workout, because you're stretching your abs, you're stretching out your arms, and like opening up your torso and like your
yeah, that's
collarbone,
and that's actually
and
one of
you're
the
working
things.
out your legs, and it
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
it feels really good. And so you can switch back and forth and do the other side. It's neat. It just
That
feels
is one
good.
of the things I loved about doing those videos is at the end he actually had like very extensive stretch exercises that
And
like
Brian Pagella is on record as hating stretching,
I
guys.
am.
So
I
this
mean,
is a
and I
big
hated doing it
deal.
in his thing, but but he would like have the calming music, and I was like, okay, this is part of the routine. Um,
It is, yeah.
and like they also do like sort of like warm up, not really stretches, but like movements in his stuff. Like I know they do like shoulder rolls and stuff like that before you start
Hmm.
jumping all over the place
Yep.
to sort of get your
You
blood
do like
flowing.
gentle
Yeah,
punches.
it's like it seems like it's really silly to do, but it's
I mean, it is and it isn't.
I feel like he's got the right idea. He's like this is how you get yourself motivated to move, even if you don't want to move. So he does like 3 minutes of you just like barely moving, and then you move a little bit more, and then by the middle of it, you're like literally jumping.
Yeah, I like videos that are really slow. But like P90, Billy Blank's videos are really long, or at least the ones I have are
There's a
pretty
10-minute
long.
one out there that I used to do when I first started
Yeah,
working out in my
there's like an
teens.
8 minute one that I have now. I guess it's like 8 minute workout. I mean, that stuff is great if you work from home and you need something really fast to
Yeah,
do on a lunch break, or if you don't work from home and you hate waking up early. Those are examples of times to do it. But most of the time these days I work out after work. I've gotten into like a pretty good routine doing that.
yep,
So I
and
don't mind working out for like an hour. I've kind
and
of like
yeah, and especially
accepted
since
it
winter
as
is
part of
done, like
normal.
coming in, and it's gonna
Yeah.
snow eventually. And once when that happens, running becomes a much harder option to do
I
outside.
Yeah, once
Um,
it starts snowing, I'm actually think I'm gonna have a lot of trouble running outside. I went running yesterday, but I think when the ground gets icy, I mean, I'm running by myself,
yeah, I do
and
a lot of hiking, so maybe that's something you can look into once when it snows.
potentially, yeah. I guess I'll see how the track holds up and if anybody shovels it. But
Yeah.
I run by myself a lot of the time. Usually at the track, there's other people there who are also running. So I'm like, if I fell and I got injured, someone would help me. Um,
No, nobody's gonna help you. They're just gonna stand there and point and laugh like that time you slipped on the ice and that car pulled up to you and just started laughing at you.
that might happen. I just mean if I like died, like if I
Good
got
old
a
Boston.
concussion or something, somebody might step in. The commonality of humanity might kick in. Maybe not. I don't know. But last night I went running and no one was there, and that might be because the entire world is incredibly depressed right now,
That's
and
probably
I'm the
true,
only
but
person who went to the track to go
yeah,
running.
no,
But
I'm with you. I've been hiking
I
and
was
running every
like,
day.
wow, I'm completely alone out here. Like really alone in the universe right
It makes you
now.
feel better though.
Yes, it
Um,
does. When that happens, I can do stupid dances in the track and nobody can see me, and that's fun.
I
I
mean, I
like
do that either way.
I do
So
this while I'm running down the track. I
yeah,
go up and
no,
down the
no, I do that
bleachers,
while I'm
and I'm
running
like,
into the woods, and like,
bleachers.
because I have a Spotify account that I pay for, and I don't, and I'm gonna recommend doing that because Spotify is fucking great. Turns out. And whenever there's a really good song coming on, I'm running with the dog. I'm like
Oh my
dancing
god,
and like
yeah.
fist pumping by myself in the middle of the woods.
Yes,
Like the
yes.
trees are judging me.
Demi Lovato's "Confident" is that song for me right now. I love that stupid song, and every
I
time
mean,
it
I
comes
don't.
on, I'm like,
For me, it's more like metal
yeah.
stuff, but like the
That's
things that get
good
me all
too.
pumped up and going is usually like hard rock or metal from when we were teenagers. That's like really bad, and that's
Yeah,
like the
like Eye
stuff.
of the Tiger, like that kind of
No, no,
stuff.
no, no. I'm talking about
Like hair metal.
like not Linkin Park because I mean there's not really a lot of
Oh,
Linkin Park that gets
but
me
like
pumped
that
up, but like
genre,
sometimes like Disturbed comes on from like 15 years ago, and I'm like,
and you're like,
yeah. Yeah, I'm like, oh, wow, wow, I'm making all those weird noises. So
yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
great. That's why it's good to work out where no one can find you. But also, you have Lyra, so if something bad happened, she'd start barking or howling or
I mean,
something.
she
Like,
does do that, and
I'm alone,
that's sort of
so
like the scarier thing about running through the woods too is that I'm like, if an animal attacks us, like I'm always like I don't even notice animals at first sometimes because like they're blending in, but she notices and will start like growling and stuff, and I'll be like, okay, we got to go in the other direction. So dogs
yeah.
are great. Anyway, my workout tip today is I'm trying to figure out how to do lots of strength training stuff without weights because I mean I have weights, but on the off chance you don't have them, I'm trying to get back in the habit of doing those. So I started doing mountain climbers again, which is what you sort of put yourself down on the ground in a push-up position, and you hold yourself like that, and you bring one leg up, like you're climbing on the ground, but you don't move your arms, and then you move it back, and then you do it with the other leg. And it said it's supposed to be for your arms, but I feel it more in my abs than anywhere because I'm like, I feel it in my core. But you just keep on doing that repeatedly, and it's a good workout. It's pretty solid. And it's easy, and it's something you can do at home. And you don't need to do a lot of them. I'm crazy, and I do like a ridiculous amount of reps per set. So don't do what I do, but you can do as much as you want. And it's like, as soon as you feel tired, let yourself rest. But it's really great for your arms and your core. So
that's awesome.
I would demonstrate, but you're not going to see it. So
no, I actually think I think your explanation was pretty good. Better than me trying to explain that Billy Blank.
Okay, but that was like a really tough and difficult thing to tough and difficult. In fact,
yeah, it was tough. It was difficult.
It was difficult. It was a little hard. Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to talk about Doctor Strange?
Yes, but first I want to say to everyone who's tuning in now that you can always email us at insomniacsinthemorning@gmail.com, and we read your mail at the end of the week. And this week we do have a prompt, which is, please tell us about your favorite comfort movie or game or activity. Like, how do you deal with stress and anxiety, especially at a time like this? What's your favorite go-to? Like when you're having a bad day and you don't want to do anything new, you want to do something that's your comfort zone, like a movie that you really love, or like if you like to knit or something like that. That's what we want to hear about. And you can email us at insomniacsinthemorning@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we'll read it in just a few minutes.
We will. And I also want to do a quick little shout out here because I remembered to open the chat bubble this time. So that's what happens when you work out before the show, is that your brain moves. But I don't know who this person is, but I see that they're here listening again, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing the username right, but it's Kurthleet, I think. And he or she, I don't know if it's who it is, made a comment last time we were on here about Gino and how Tracer should turn into a sexy werewolf. And we were like, we don't know who you are, but you're amazing, and thank you.
Yeah, we laughed really hard at that last week.
Yeah, and apparently this person is also a big fan of Let's Watch 2 Movies. So thank you so much for following all this stuff on Atomic Blue. You're really awesome.
Yeah, thank you. That means a lot to us. And yeah, if anybody has never heard of it, Gino is a sci-fi web series that Ryan and I made, and it's an Atomic Blue Productions.
I mean, it was nice to see that, because I was like,
who Tracer is,
it was a reference somebody made by somebody that was not one of our friends, and I was like, this is beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so neat when people who aren't just who we know contact us and are like, I like the thing you made.
Or like quote it. Like that's like I went after D-Man came out, when we did our throwback to that, and people were like, blah, 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 Claire Redfield. I was like, whoa, people actually watch this.
I have no idea why people watch D-Man, genuinely. Like,
I mean,
Gino, I think
they were there because they were laughing with us. That's why.
Anyway, that's all right. Let's talk about Doctor Strange.
All right, so
this feels like it happened in another life for me. Like, I just watched Doctor Strange. That actually is what I did last weekend. I saw it last weekend.
So I
already, so much has happened since then that I'm like, what happened to Doctor Strange? I don't know. But you saw it more recently than I did.
Okay, so I saw it like while the elections were happening, because we, like after we voted.
Get rid of like your ability to look at the news for a few hours.
So like we were like, this is what we're gonna do. So we went to go see Doctor Strange, and I know you said it was okay, but I really enjoyed it.
No, I didn't. I when I said it was okay, you're forgetting what I said. I was like, it's very fun.
There was a lot of things happening in that moment.
Yeah, no, I know. But yeah, I definitely like gave it a review that was like, it's very fun.
It's a fun movie.
Maybe somebody else told you it was okay.
I don't know, but I am a Doctor Strange fan. I do love the comics, and it's been interesting because a lot of my friends, including Ben, are like, oh, we know who Doctor Strange is, but we're not really into it. I was like, I actually really enjoy Doctor Strange because it's just like,
I actually really like him too, believe it or not. I haven't read a lot of Doctor Strange comics, but he is in a lot of the Avengers comics that I've talked on the show a lot of times about. So I've read a lot of like old Doctor Strange storylines just from that, and I really enjoed them. So I'm with you.
And I think he's an interesting character. Let me put down the weight for a second. But I think
I think Doctor Strange is cool.
I know. But essentially what I was going to say is that, the Marvel universe is like so weird in the fact that there's magic, there's aliens, there's like
And there's
Asgard,
sci-fi.
and then there's like tech, and then there's like
Mhm.
mutants, and they shouldn't work together, yet they always have. And I felt like this movie with Doctor Strange in it really sort of bridged that gap, because there
Yep,
was like a
for the
lot of
first time.
technology that was being used in it. And like after the movie, I turned to Ben and I go, hey, I'm like, how was the medicine in this movie? Because we all know that movies and TV just fucking like makes shit up when it comes to medicine, or how a procedure should go, or how somebody loads somebody on the ambulance. It's almost 90% of the time wrong. And he was like, 95% of the medicine in this movie was correct. And it was so correct to the point where like they were suggesting procedures that haven't been invented yet, but like made you think, and it's like, wait, why aren't we doing it that way? Which is really interesting that like that's something that happened in this. So it was smart on the level with all the tech and the medicine in this movie, but then was able to create rules of how the magic worked in that universe also, and stick to its own rules. And I think that's really hard to write.
Yeah, it is. I
Because you and
like
I tried doing that for a really long time, and like it didn't
we
work.
still
Like
are trying
there
to,
was there was
well,
a version of
not
Geno out there where
necessarily,
there was
but yeah.
magic and tech in it, and we just got rid of the magic aspect and turned it into tech because we were like, it's just too difficult
It's
to
too
bridge that
complicated.
gap. And I think this movie did it in a very smart way. I thought the whole movie was very smart. Like visually, I thought it was like the
It's like
symmetry of the mirror world was really like perfect in terms of like how you want to do it cinematically, and also in form of like taking what would be in a comic book drawn and turning it into something that's moving. um I was just like really impressed by all of that. And I was impressed by Benedict Cumberbatch, who, like, I'm not a big fan of his. I think he's a great actor, but I'm just like not like a to die. Like, I'm gonna go jerk off in the corner over Benedict, like so many people are.
you don't have a crush on him,
No.
basically.
And I was like, for this entire time, I was like, it just looks like he's being Doctor Strange in cosplay. But I really felt like he sold that role. Like, I wasn't expecting that. And I should have. I don't know why I wasn't, but, he really
I thought he did a great
sold me
job
on Doctor
too.
Strange.
So did it bother you that Doctor Strange was like a jokester in this? Because I liked it, but
I
I've seen
liked
a lot
it.
of people saying they didn't.
Well, okay, but that's
Because
because they're pulling
he's
that.
very serious in the comics.
He is very
I mean,
serious, but
that's
the
true.
thing is that they are pulling a lot of this from the Ultimates. The whole cinematic universe is like this weird cross between the Ultimates universe and the actual comic book canon.
So I'm less
Because
familiar with that. Is he more like quippy in that?
Yeah, because I mean, in the Ultimates, everybody was like a younger, hotter version of who they actually are in the canon original Marvel universe, I guess.
Fair enough.
And the whole reason why this happened is because they cast Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, because that's who he was based off of in the Ultimates universe. And then they
Right.
just kept reading that instead of like doing extensive research on like any of the characters, except for whoever did Civil War. They kind of did a good job at doing research of those characters, because I mean, Scarlet Witch and Vision were perfect, for example. But that's how Doctor Strange is in the Ultimates universe. So, and he's
Well,
kind of like
that's good to
rich and
know.
an asshole. You know what I mean?
I mean, I saw
Because
the
that's what the
complaint
Marvel
that I saw
universe
about
needs is more
that.
rich assholes.
Yeah, I mean that's the complaint I saw, was that people were like, he felt very similar to Tony Stark. It wasn't like a serious complaint. It was just kind of like an observational thing where people were
Yeah.
like, it's interesting that he's so similar. And it definitely is a fall from grace kind of a movie. But I really enjoyed the Iron Man movies. So I'm not opposed to seeing that story again. I mean, I can understand why it's repetitive. But rich guys realizing that they're wrong about stuff, like, I'm happy to watch that.
Yeah, me too.
So,
Rich white guys, especially.
yeah, and like the beginning of this movie, he's so unlikable. And so I think you kind of have to make him unlikable in order to get to the point where he like gets
Well,
like
I mean, that's true.
his fall from grace, and
Right.
you don't really feel bad for him. You know what I mean? Like that, in order for that narrative arc to land, you kind of have to hate him a little bit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
And this is like a retelling of Doctor Strange, and it still had all the same points that happen like within the Doctor Strange story. I mean, they're done a little bit differently, but like,
yeah, I mean, they
you have
had
to
to
remember
change
that
some
like,
stuff, like the locations. Like Tibet isn't in this movie. They
yeah,
had
I
to
know, right?
change that around for political reasons.
But I think sort of what's important about Doctor Strange's arc there is that, like, even though he's an asshole at first, you have to sort of understand that, like, like as Doctor Strange as a character, the reason why he becomes a sorcerer is because he loses everything essentially. Like he's this amazing surgeon in the comics, and he's like so good that there's nobody better than him, and they like, and he understands and knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that taking him and making him sort of the asshole and being like kind of pompous and rich about it, like I think that does work for that storyline. Even if it's not canonically like how he acts in the comics, I think it works because it really shows you that he loses everything and that money doesn't solve things for you. Like, you know, I think it's a very telling story of like, you think you're great until you lose like just this one thing, and then it's all fucking downhill. And he loses his hands, which is like the most important part of his story, you know? So
yeah, and I mean like it's there have been a lot of articles about like the changes to the location of the story and the fact that the Ancient One is like a white lady now, which I did think was pretty weird. And like
I
know
did,
my
even that, but I do love that actress. So it's,
I mean, Tilda Swinton rules, and like there's no debate on that in terms of her acting prowess. But like it was a very weird choice. And like I know that like the Mary Sue published, my coworker Jessica Lashonal wrote some articles about that were both great. And she wrote a great review of the movie. But it was very weird. I still think it was really strange that they did that, but I also do understand that they did it because the political situation between China and Tibet, because movies have to be sold in China. Like I understand why that was done, but it like definitely changes the movie in some ways that are very strange.
It's sort of strange because they're like how
you're like why is this white lady there? Like like they don't really try to explain it. They basically try to get around the problem by being like, don't worry about it. And like I don't know if that really works, but that, and like that's a worthy complaint of the movie. But like spoilers, it's not a thing that's gonna happen in any other movie because she's only gonna be in this one.
I mean, if you know the Doctor Strange story, then you sort of know what's coming. So
yeah, but like at least it's only gonna be confined to this movie. So hopefully, and I'm sure this will be a franchise, and future Doctor Strange movies they can kind of like think about how to do that in a different way. You know what I mean? Like that was at least something that I was thinking about as I was leaving. I was like, well, there have been many Ancient Ones over the years. That's established in the story. And like she's not the only one. So like maybe we can sort of have other examples in the past, like flashbacks and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. Or like
someday.
if they did something like if there was less of a issue where maybe she, I don't know, like Doctor Who's it. I don't know. Like I don't know how. And somebody in this chat actually made a really good point. He said, "Do you make a racial stereotype or do you cast a woman and whitewash the role?" And it's like, what do you do
That's
here?
What
like
the director said. But I think what you do, honestly, is you just hire Asian people to write it.
Yeah, I mean, there's that.
Didn't do that. That's okay honestly my big complaint about this is that the director and the writers behind the movie were white guys, and they all did interviews where they were like, we just couldn't figure out how to fix the problem. And I'm like, optics wise, this doesn't look good.
I know. And it would
look
interesting.
A lot better if you had like an Asian writer who was doing these interviews and saying, we couldn't figure out how, and if that person was honest about being like, I thought about it and I couldn't figure it out, people would take it better if that was true.
I think so too. And it's
really true. I think there might be a way to figure it out. Now we'll never know because they already made this movie. You know what I mean? Like Marvel has a lot of money too, so they do,
but it's also owned by Disney, which is sort of its own issues.
True. What are you talking about? Disney's never been racist.
Perfect and not racist at all, and definitely doesn't like make villains out of gay people.
Oh my God, that's a whole other thing we can talk about.
We're not going to get to that right now. We don't have the time to bitch about Disney right now.
I know. We should do that someday.
And did you write a review for Doctor Strange, or did you?
Didn't. My coworker did. I didn't actually cover it at all because although I enjoyed it, I was like, I really like Jessica's articles, and I don't have a lot to add. And then very shortly after that, the election happened.
Okay. So you didn't, but you probably posted about it on Twitter or something.
The news cycle. I don't even think I did. I didn't really talk about Doctor Strange a lot, just for whatever reason. I've just been covering other things for work, which is
right.
Yeah. So this is the first time I've really talked about it at all, to be honest. I thought it was a fun action movie, and I don't think I enjoyed it as much as other people did. Not because I think it's bad or anything, but just because it's not my favorite Marvel movie. I have seen people being like, "It's my favorite Marvel movie," and like that's cool.
I really enjoyed it, but like for me,
I like Winter Soldier a lot. If we're talking about favorite Marvel movies,
I mean, I think Civil War is probably top of the
Civil
list
War is
for
really
me,
fun, but I
because
think
Black Panther's in it and he's great.
people need to have seen all the other ones, so it's kind of like
Yeah,
I don't know if I would recommend that in a vacuum. Winter
right.
Soldier is one that you can kind of just watch. You know what I mean?
I
And
see.
Doctor Strange, you don't necessarily need to have seen any other Marvel
No,
movie.
I actually really enjoy Doctor Strange, and it's probably like one of my like it's
One of
up
your
there
tops.
towards the top for me for the Marvel movies. But I also really love Iron Man 3, which a lot of people don't love.
I
And
liked it too.
I'm like
I
a
do too.
hardcore like actual comic book Iron Man fan, and the reason why I love Iron Man 3 is because I feel like that is the movie where Tony Stark is the most like his actual character.
Yeah. I really
So
like all three of the Iron Man movies, which is an unpopular opinion, and it was at the time. People were like, "These are dumb movies," and I think over time, people have kind of been like, "Yeah, they were pretty good."
well, people
But
are like
at the
really into
time, I
Tony
was
Stark
like,
and Robert Downey Jr.
I want this to be like, I want self-reflective superheroes. Like, this is the kind of story that I want to see. Um, and so I think Doctor Strange is kind of like a capsule version of that, and I like the part of it that's like very self-aware, like, oh, being a superhero is like you have to kind of let go of your ego. I mean, that's
Yep.
the theme of Doctor Strange, which I really appreciated, like as a overarching theme. Like that's sort of the big change that happens to him is that he has to realize that he is not important. And like
So
that's actually a pretty amazing thing to make a
I agree,
superhero movie about.
and I think so too. We got to get off this, but Todd just popped in
Fine.
here too. Just so hi Todd, number one, and also he's talking about how Doctor Strange is the only Marvel movie that he's seen, and not needing to watch the other 5 movies is like a good reason to watch it. So
Yeah, definitely.
um,
Definitely.
he also okay. Are you seeing this chat? Okay.
John also says, if only Strange had actually let go of his ego at any point. That's debatable. I think I would have to spoil the movie in order to
You can just go watch the movie. You can make
what
your own
that
judgment.
point means.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting movie nonetheless. And this is kind of a spoiler, but I did like that the movie ended with Doctor Strange having not fully completed his journey physically or mentally. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked that. I liked
at
that
least
the
it
movie
opened that
ended,
like he's gonna still continue like his journey. So
yeah, but I really
especially
liked
if
that
there's
the
like
movie
45 other movies
with like just everything's magically fixed. Like I actually really liked that, and I liked that he wasn't completely perfect as a person. I'm for those aspects.
Me too.
But anyway, let's keep going.
We gotta keep
There's
moving.
some other news that came out this week. The Wonder Woman trailer come out. I fucking loved it.
I fucking loved it too. I'm already really excited about this movie, regardless of this trailer. Like, it's just got a great team behind it, unlike any of the other DC movies.
Which I'm going to choose to ignore whenever I'm seeing Wonder Woman. I'm going to pretend those movies never happened before or since.
Right. And this Gal Gadot looks so good. She looks amazing. And like I love that like all the cinematic choices that I've seen so far in this trailer. Like obviously since it's a women director, there's no like focus on her boobs or butt or any of that shit. Like what we're seeing are like close-ups of her muscles. No, I know like, facial expressions. I love that you see close-ups of like all the women like fighting, and you see their muscles like in their arms, like pulsing, and I'm like, this is great. This is exactly what I want Wonder Woman to be. And even though it's like in this weird like World War II era, like
it's World War One actually.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say. One. It's definitely not World War II.
Yeah, that would be the normal story is World War II. This is about World War One, which has never been a Wonder Woman story.
No, but you know what? It's I'm still excited to see it, and I'm excited that there's multiple times in this movie where they're like, Diana, don't, but then like the next shot is her just like kicking somebody in the throat with a heeled boot,
or
like
the blocking bullets with their bracelets.
Oh like, God, I know. Like I remember when you posted, you're like, this is exactly what I want to be.
I want to be Wonder Woman. And that
I mean,
is
you always
feeling,
have. That's not like a new
that everyone should have when they watch that trailer is I want to be Wonder Woman, regardless of gender. Because that's what you want. That's what you want out of a superhero movie.
Exactly.
Anyway, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I hope it comes out tomorrow because
on terms of like DC stuff, there's also Young Justice season 3, which is finally announced, which we didn't know if it was going to happen or not because they had their whole thing on Netflix.
It seemed like it wasn't going to happen. I remember seeing articles saying it would not happen.
Do you remember there was like a week where they were all tweeting from the team? They're like, "This
Yes.
is a really important week to watch it
Yes,
on Netflix."
yes.
So
I do.
everybody did. That was like months ago. So I figured that nothing came of it. But then they're like,
Yeah.
"No, it got renewed." I don't even know where. Like, did it get picked up by a network, or is it getting picked up by Netflix? I don't even fucking know that. Like,
I don't know either. Maybe we can find that out.
I'm not going to Google that right now, but I'm really excited. The end of the last season, which was really good, except for the last 2 episodes where they got canceled and they had to wrap everything up really fast and did sort of like a shit show ending, which isn't their
It looks
fault.
like it's Warner Brothers producing it, by the way. Just
Yeah. They just
preliminarily.
like they're like, oh, we're gonna stop paying you, so they had to like down the animation and the writing really fast. But at the end of it, they said Nightwing's looking at Batgirl and he says she's ready to lead the team. So we're gonna get a season 3 where Batgirl's in charge, and I'm really fucking excited about that.
Yeah, that's
Like
gonna be
Batgirl's like my
awesome.
favorite DC hero, so I'm like, all right. Anyway, I'm gonna stop nerding out over here. Also,
Oh,
what came
I
out today? I just threw this in the doc, but the new trailer for Valerian came out,
yeah, I just watched it last
and
night.
yeah, I know you posted on the Mary Sue, and I was like,
Yeah, I
what?
did our 8:30 a.m. post. So this is a Luc Besson movie. He's the Fifth Element guy, and he makes really corny, huge action movies. And this movie looks fun and sparkly
I
and
mean, it looks
distracting.
like The Fifth Element, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
It does look like
On
Fifth Element.
well,
But
when we
it
get
looks
to
even
comfort movies,
goofier, like in terms of goofiness, it looks really silly.
it
But I
does,
was
it
for it.
does. But I'm okay with that because that's like Luc Besson's thing, right? Like
Oh, definitely.
he's just like, I do silly sci-fi, everyone. Here I am. But it's also like sort of beautiful. Like you're like, okay, it's like really like visually interesting to watch it. Like, but then like people are like saying and doing silly things, and it's like I can get behind that. I think that's where a lot of my writing style came from.
Oh yeah, and like visually it looks really good.
I
So the which of these things do we want to do? We can just run through them really quick.
um,
So there's
well,
a
let's
live action Beauty and the Beast movie. I don't know why they're doing that at all. I think it's really
what Beauty
silly.
and the
But
Beast.
yeah, no, they're making like a live action movie version
I
of it.
know.
I
I
think
just
that's
for the
really
record, I haven't seen
strange.
any of these live action Disney movies at
Me
all. Like
either.
I've not seen
Well,
a
I saw
single one of them.
Snow White and the Huntsman, which is the one you shouldn't see, but I did see that one. It's really bad.
No, but
Um,
they've done like what? They did Cinderella, right? I don't even
They
know.
did, and I actually haven't seen Maleficent either, and I haven't seen the other Snow White that they did. I haven't
Yeah.
seen any of this.
Like
But yeah, they're
what
doing one, and Emma Watson's in it, and she's Belle. And apparently, Emma Watson lobbied to have Belle be an inventor, and her father is also like sort of an inventor and
but
craftsman.
she's
He
like
makes
following
music
in his
boxes,
trade. Okay.
but she's um, an inventor herself, and like that's sort of just part of the story is that she, in addition to liking books, also makes things. And I think that's cool that she changed that because there's no reason why Belle couldn't be an inventor. And that was true in the original movie too. Um, but yeah, that's the only thing about this movie that I'm like, that's cool. Everything else that I've seen about it, I've been like, this looks really dumb.
I mean, I haven't seen any of these live action interpretations of their own movies, and I'm like,
I don't
why?
know. I don't
But like
know.
everyone said, but people are like behind them. People really liked Maleficent. We have somebody in the chat that said the Cinderella one was really good and it was directed by Kenneth Branagh. So I mean, I
Maybe they're
guess
great. They're not for me. I think they're for the younger generation, and that's fine.
probably because they're trying to get
So
people reinvested in the story.
Overwatch
Um,
has a new character. She's named Sombra. She's amazing, and
I'm
she's
still not on the Overwatch train yet, but
a
mostly because I don't have money to play Overwatch right now. So,
It's fine.
or the time, really. I mean,
I'm not either. I don't play a lot. But I know all my friends are obsessed with it. So that's something cool that happened. I've really enjoyed seeing all the videos and gifs and stuff of people playing as her. And
is she like a
also
new character that is just
she's
completely new, or is she
completely
like
new.
a
She's
NPC
completely
that's now
new.
playable?
No, she's completely new. They
Okay,
invented her just for this.
cool.
So also the Lego Batman trailer, there's a new one out, new-ish from last week that shows Rosario Dawson as Batgirl, and I thought that trailer was hilarious and really, really fun to watch. So I would look it up and have a laugh at it if you need a break. That's
So
it for
there's
me.
like a whole
And
bunch of
you
them, aren't
have
there?
something. There's a bunch of trailers. I actually haven't seen a lot of them, but I did watch this new one and I laughed at it a lot because I really liked it. So I'm excited for that movie. What's this
Um,
NES thing?
So we talked about the NES Classic a while ago, but it's like that new little box that has like 75 NES games or something in it, and you plug it into your TV and you just like choose which NES game you want to play. It's got like all the classics. So that came out and people are actually buying it. which a lot of people are like, oh, this is really cool. And then like there's a bunch of people that are like, there are people that are actually buying this thing that you can either emulate or just buy the original games. So that's like a whole thing that's happening right now. I saw that it was trending on Twitter a little bit ago, and I didn't realize that it had come out today or whenever it came out. But basically, if you are, I don't know, a retro gamer that really wants to have this item in your collection that just has 75 classic Nintendo games on it, or if you are somebody that hasn't played them and want to play them and you don't really have the means to do it because you don't have the games, so there's not really a point of you buying like a tri-loader, I guess this could be for you. I don't really know what the direction is with it, but I can tell you that seeing that whenever I see something that Nintendo releases, like even if it's like good or bad, it always gets me excited. Like before we get into comfort movies and stuff, like Nintendo's just always there for me, yo. That's it.
Right on,
That's all I got. I don't know. I mean, I don't have it, so I can't tell you if it's good or bad. But it's a thing that's happening. If you see it trending on Twitter and you want to know what it is.
Okay. So do you want to do the throwback, or do you want to just like skip ahead, or
I think we can quickly do the throwback because we were talking about today's topic or question is that
reader mail question, which you can still send us reader mail because we're not quite there yet.
At insomniacsinthemorning@gmail.com. We asked for, comfort movies and games and activities, especially during this week. And we just watched a Goofy movie for my birthday. We don't need to talk about it super extensively, even though it's like one of my favorite movies. I really enjoy this film and the writing and animation behind it, as does Caro, turns out. But, it's a movie that I grew up with. I was actually too old to be watching it when I thought about it. When we had our birthday party, I was like, wait, when did this movie come out? And I was like, well, that's like at least 12 or something. I was not at the age range to be watching this children's movie. But it's about Goofy and his son doesn't want to be like Goofy. And his son's the main character of the movie.
We were talking about how, a lot of our viewers have probably seen it, but when we were watching it as kids, you can really relate to Max, but
as an adult, you relate to Goofy because Max is being such an asshole.
I know, and it's like hard to watch, but it's like a great teen rebellion kind of a movie because I remember as a kid, I could totally relate to every choice Max makes in this movie.
I still look at it and I remember being there, but I also now as an adult, I'm like, man, I was an asshole then. So
yeah, and I think that's like an interesting journey to put into a kids movie because it's like, oh, there's something for the parents, there's something for the kids, and like they show you all these sacrifices that Goofy makes in order to make Max's life palatable, and like it's so like as an adult watching it, you're like, oh my god, Max, your dad is making so many sacrifices for you, and you
and it's true, but I also feel you sort of feel for this is the first time Goofy was ever written as sort of like an in-depth character. It's fucking Goofy, like, he's a cartoon character that like explodes out of cannons and rooftops normally.
I know. Well, what about Kingdom Hearts? He's a serious character in that, and
I know that's weird. I love Kingdom Hearts, but like that was.
And I love the fact that Goofy's in Kingdom Hearts,
and he's like wearing battle armor.
Right now. I know, I love it. Anyway, but that was after.
We're not talking about Kingdom Hearts right now because I love Kingdom Hearts, and I'm excited for whenever this third one fucking comes out. But
anyway, a Goofy movie, another Goofy movie.
I was thinking about how Goofy in this movie is like, he's in a really stressful position because like you got to be like, it puts in perspective like how a parent is like when the principal calls him and he's like screaming at him that his child's out of control and that he's gonna probably be thrown in jail and die. Which is like a really morbid thing for them to say in a Disney movie. Like they literally say they're going to kill the child if like he doesn't like shape up.
Or they at least say like he's gonna become a part of the prison industrial complex. Like they basically say your kid is fucked. So, like,
yeah, and like, but like all he did was that he's like this outcast goth kid a little bit. That's sort of like he does like a one last rebellion thing on the last day of school.
Okay, but the stuff that he does is like illegal and wildly dangerous.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Undersell what Max is doing.
But okay, so like he does that, and so Goofy gets this phone call, and then also like there's Pete who's like got PJ, and Pete's like an abusive father, which I realized sometime way after I was a kid. I was like, Pete's a terrible.
There's some heavy stuff in a Goofy movie, guys.
There's like it's actually sort of a dark movie, like layered with all this like goofiness happening, which is sort of why I like it. And so Pete's like telling him about like how he should be a better father by abusing his child essentially, and Goofy's like doesn't know what to do. Like he's a single parent, like it's just sort of like it's very sort of stressful for him to figure out how to take care of your kid, like, and it sort of puts in perspective like the shit that must be told to your like our parents about us, especially since we were goth teenagers.
Oh
uh,
yeah, the
and
stuff
I
like,
can't
oh, your
imagine what our
kids aren't
teachers
gonna
said
turn
about
out
us.
well. Look,
Yeah,
I remember other parents, like this is like a famous story in my family, but when Mink and I would go to church retreats, we'd be like the goth ones there, and like other parents would come up to our parents and be like, the Myers girls are just out of control. Like they're
yeah,
really concerned. And like we were doing nothing. We
I
were
know.
just really goth and we looked
That's
scary.
exactly how it was for me, and I'm sure my teachers were
The
telling my
Myers
parents, they were like,
girls.
because we were wearing trench coats then, and it was like, then like the shootings happened way back then, and
I
that kid,
know.
I didn't like, it was like everybody's like, oh, is this guy gonna come in and like, fucking be
Lose his
terrible?
mind and
Yeah, so
blah
like
blah.
it's like I can't even imagine what it's like to be a parent. I don't want kids, so like I don't need hopefully don't need
This would
to
be a
cross
weird
this
way to
path.
tell me that you did if you were like, so in watching a Goofy movie, I've
I want to
decided
have children
that
now.
my
No.
honestly, it's a pretty good movie when it comes to feel good stuff about like a single dad and a son. Like in
Sure.
terms of
And
that, it's actually like a really cool story.
also in terms of
Genuinely.
like the movie itself, the music is catchy as fuck. Everybody
So
remembers it.
good.
Everybody
Power
remembers the lining
line.
cheese, the leaning tower of Cheesa. Like
Everyone
everybody
remembers that shit,
remembers that.
but I legitimately listen to those Powerline songs.
I
Like
still do. Like,
I
let's be
still do.
real. Like, I bought like the
Those
tape
songs are
cassette.
great.
I had everything as a kid. So,
He's
uh,
supposed to be he's like the pop star in the movie who's kind of inspired by like Michael Jackson or Prince or like other sort of pop
right.
stars.
And and there's two more things before we get off this topic, but number one, the animation in this is beautiful. And I kept saying that to Kara, our friend who's an animator. And I was like,
Mhm.
the backdrops in this are just fucking gorgeous. Like, and she's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, you can see where they like were having to do all this crazy like 2D animation stuff, and was showing us stuff about the lines. Just the animation in this movie is like really, really good. But the other thing that we were also talking about at the time was that this is like a hard pitch of a movie. Like
Oh
they didn't
yeah.
know like how it's gonna go. Like who pitched this fucking idea? Like it's a
I don't know.
really
And like at the time it wasn't like an idea that made sense to do. Like
no,
I
and it's like
genuinely
just
don't know how
all of
this
it. When you
movie
think about it,
happened.
it's like a movie where we humanize Goofy into this single parent with his relationship with his son. It's dark as shit. There's like all this sort of like abuse coming from Pete over there. Uh,
Yeah. But
and
also like
like
the
Goofy's
entire
child
idea.
becoming an adult, and like all these mistakes
Yeah.
they make, and uh, like the fact that there's like power line. It like who came up with this concept
It's
that
also
they
like
like
very expensive to make a 2D animated movie. So the development for this movie probably happened years prior. So that was
yeah,
when they were pitching it. So they were like, in a few years, we're going to make. You
this
know what I mean? Like
crazy
that's how
far-fetched
that
movie that should not work, but it does, and it still holds like a place in like a lot of people's hearts because
at
like it
least
really
our
sticks out.
hearts.
Like a lot you've people our age do love this movie. Like it
Because
like
it's great. Show it to your kids.
I mean I still love it. I think it's a good movie. It's a
I
good
think it
Goofy
still holds
movie.
up. I think it's great. I only got to watch the first half and then I had to take Mary Ellen home. But as far as I know, the second half is still great.
All right, so
Anyway, let's
we
do
got it.
some reader mail.
We're gonna do some reader mail because the question today was comfort activities, movies, and games. And before we jump into exactly what everyone says, I was thinking about for me what it is, and like I have lots of different things. Like mostly, like if I just want to watch something that's gonna tune out, it's something that I watched a lot as a teenager. So I think a Goofy movie is like something that I really like. Fifth Element is something I watched a lot, and I still like watching that. Um, Futurama, though, that's my
Mm.
go-to. That is every single time I just want to fucking de-stress. I've seen all of Futurama like thousands of times. The Spanish Fry episode is one of my favorite episodes, and I've watched that episode like so many times that like I can like talk along with it. Uh, so that's something I like to do, and I also really like playing Super Mario Brothers 2 when I want to de-stress. I don't know why, it just that always makes me feel better no matter what. So it's
That's
like
cool.
I think it just brings me to like when I was a kid or something, and like the
Oh
sounds
yeah, it
and
probably
the
taps
nostalgia of
into
it.
a
Yeah,
time when you remember being safe and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So those are
Um,
two things I really enjoy.
for me, it would probably be Murder She Wrote because that show's so repetitive and formulaic. And I've talked before on the show about how it's like really de-stress. Like the
Yeah,
mystery will always be solved. Jessica Fletcher's an amazing character. She's super smart and amazing, and like everybody bows to her excellence in the end of every episode. It's great. It's a great show. And then also I've been watching Gilmore Girls, which is also another like woman dominated feel good show.
I was just talking to Gita about this and how
Yeah.
like
It's coming back soon, so I'm like
I
trying
know. It's actually a very well written show with great
well.
actors. Like I love the
Yeah.
dialogue on that show.
It's great.
There's too
Lane
many
is
white
great.
people in it, but
Well, yeah,
it's
but
still a
there's
good
Lane.
show.
That's it.
Uh,
Lane is my favorite character because she's in a rock band and she's fucking cool.
I like Paris because I like bitches.
Paris is so good. She's so good. And she's amazing even now. Whatever. Anyway, that show's great. Okay, so that's it for me. What did our readers send?
So we have one person, Amy, who said, my favorite comfort food show is Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's a reminder of what we're fighting for and what humanity can become when it evolves past barbarism and fear.
Yeah.
I think that's...
I saw people on Twitter talking about like optimistic sci-fi and being like, is there any optimistic sci-fi that's not about a dystopia where we all are going to die?
Yeah.
Star Trek. Watch
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Trek: The Next Generation is actually like really good too. It's well written. The science works. Like it's just a very smart show. Like
it's also like a great feel good show, which I think is really what we need. I mean, like we need more respect for the sciences. I'll say
some people will probably also say that they really like the original Star Trek.
I would say that.
I think there's just like a lot of original Star Trek people and Next Generationers that really just love those two. I like Next Generation more than the original, but I appreciate the original because it's like that's where that started. So,
yeah.
We also have something from Mike G, who's a friend of mine, who wrote in. I like the idea for this podcast. Here's what I got. Portal 2 came to mind immediately. You're trapped underground with a sardonic robot that wants to murder you, and your only way out is to solve puzzles with a really cool gun. You pretty much have to forget about the real world when you play it. My favorite part is when you get to the old Aperture Labs and discover blue gel for the first time. I
love that part.
Yep. And they also write Star Wars.
Looks so cool in that game.
Yep. Star Wars, Harry Potter, the Avengers, etc. Adventure really takes me away from anxiety, probably because of the epic nature and the inevitable, satisfying conclusion. I know I can just be a passenger for a while with these. Look forward to the podcast. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, that's awesome. Those are all great suggestions.
Yeah.
Whether you're reading Harry Potter or watching it, those are fun, escapist.
Also, Portal is a really great game.
Fighting against white supremacy.
That's true. And if you're playing Portal, the first one, you can finish that in like an hour if you really just need to tap out and play a quick game, you know?
Oh, yeah. The first one, yeah. The second one, the
second one is a little bit longer.
To beat. I don't remember anymore, but I've actually played those games more than once. If you wait long enough, you do forget the solutions to those puzzles and you can enjoy them again. So by now you
also, it's a game where you can sort of like everybody plays it differently, which is something I enjoy. If we're going to talk about games that you want to escape in, I actually played a lot of Skyrim when I was in a really bad place, and I just went to another world for hours, like all night, just to escape. And that's another game.
Some lavender, you know. Just
but like in terms of like games that everyone plays differently, Skyrim was one of them because everybody just has a completely different experience with the game because it's got that crazy AI in it. But we can talk about that at a different time.
Todd's tweeted us his, which I can just say really quickly. It's I promise you, have you had a bad day? Here's my steps. 1, put Fly Away on loop, which is a song. 2, load up a Muso game. And 3, kill until you feel better.
I mean, that's
so the Muso games, we've talked about them a little bit on this show. Like that was the game genre that new Zelda game that's like not by Nintendo was made by. It's a Muso game.
Yeah.
It's like just endless cycling. I mean, Counter-Strike is that for me, where it's just endless cycling and you just shoot people and then you're alive again and then you shoot more people and then you're alive and everybody's alive. Death is meaningless. Life is meaningless. Nihilism.
This is why Steph and I keep on playing the Resident Evil games. That everyone's like, why do you guys love these games? I'm like, we just want to fucking turn on our Spotify, listen to Rob Zombie, and kill some zombies. That's just what we want. Like, it doesn't need to be good.
You guys don't really like the newest Resident Evil game. You're just playing it because it's like you're hanging out together. I feel like
and we're killing zombies together, and we're fucking rocking to corn again. It's great.
Okay, cool. So any more emails?
Yeah, we do. We have one from James. Hey guys, I saw Ryan was asking about activities that we do when we are down. So here's my preferred way to deal with it. When I am down, I normally tend to stay in my room and read large books. A good 5 to 6 hours of reading is typically very helpful. I can get behind that. I don't read as
Absolutely.
much as Maddie does. I know Maddie is like the king of reading. Uh,
Not these days. I'm still mostly just reading comic books, but
I mean,
honestly,
I read a lot of
that is
comic
a
books too.
great way to de-stress
Yeah.
because like Murder She Wrote, things usually get resolved relatively quickly and then the next conflict starts, but you know that's going to be resolved too. And it's cyclical and it's calming, but it's also like a fun adventure.
You know what's fun? This is while we're talking about books. If I do want to read something, just turn my brain off. I don't want to read something that's going to make my brain think. So I'll be like, I'm going to read an old like YA book that takes like like an hour to read.
Like Goosebumps, like you
Yeah,
like
but like,
reading
and,
Goosebumps.
it's like stupid because like I'm an adult reading it, but like like you could laugh at it. You can be like, okay, yeah, I remember thinking about like how like the events in these like young adult books would really get me all like stressed out. Now I'm just like laughing at it. So I don't know. I get into that. We have another one from Dan that says my go-to calm down has been the soundtrack of the Animatrix. I've never even seen the Animatrix, but the album is a mixed calm of electronica that helps me zone out. I have seen the Animatrix, which is great, but I also agree that that soundtrack, like I got both at the same time, and I listened to that for a very very long time. So I feel you there. Um, it was also sort of like my introduction to like a lot of the EDM that I got into at that time. So
Oh yeah, The Matrix was like everybody's intro to industrial music and also like the goth scene because the Wachowskis went to a lot of goth
yep.
bars and
It was
stuff
it was like
before they
during
made them.
that was like sort of the start of the cyberpunk era too, which is
Yeah,
something that
it
we were
was.
hugely like influenced by. So
Oh, obviously, we were just talking about how we used to wear trench coats and
I know,
stuff
right?
and intimidate people. The Matrix was like a big part of that. The
Uh,
90s.
yeah, that's true. And then we have one from Nate that says, "Hi, Ryan and Maddie. When I'm really feeling bummed and just want something that I know will make me feel good, I rewatch my favorite episodes of Futurama or Parks and Rec." I just said that.
Yeah. Oh man,
Philip
but
J.
Parks
Fry and
and Rec
Leslie
is
Knope
great
just
too.
have a relentlessly positive attitude about life that I try to emulate. Anyway, I have to go to work, so I'm going to miss the live reading of this email, but don't let that dissuade you. I'll hear it on the podcast. Thanks, Nate.
Awesome.
Uh,
And I guess now's as good a time as any to say we do have an audio only version of this show. So if you look up Insomniacs in the Morning on iTunes, you can just listen
or
to
on
it.
atomicblueproductions.com.
That's true.
It's on either of those because not everybody uses iTunes.
It's true.
But I think that's a great way to put it about Fry. I love Fry. He's probably my favorite. He's like a character that really is faced with like tragedy constantly, and he's still like whistling away. So
Absolutely. Fry's
um,
amazing, amazingly stupid, and amazingly funny.
we also have a email from Taylor that says, "Hi, Maddy and Ryan. We're in the home stretch of 2016. I can't wait for 2017. Even though it's just flipping a date on the calendar, it feels like a fresh start. What part of 2016 are you ready to kick to the curb? For me, it's the little things like loud motorcyclists outside my apartment and caring about Tumblr."
Yeah, I'm ready to kick both of those things to the curb.
I'm ready to kick
Um,
all of it. Like
oh my
this
god,
is
you know what
this has
I'm
been a
ready.
terrible fucking year. I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna go
Like
ahead and say this. So the album that I'm working on is the soft launch date for it is going to be December 2016. So that's something for people to look forward to potentially. But personally, I'm fucking sick of working on it. So I am excited to kick that to the curb in 2017. It should be done by then. It better fucking be done by then.
oh
So I'm
god.
gonna kick that project into the next universe because it'll be done.
I'm ready to kick all of it. I mean, we did just do some great things. Like we've had this show. You
We've
got
had
Let's
this. We've
Watch the
done
Movies. You got
Gino.
the Robot Nights album. We got Gino out
Gino.
there. We did like a lot of fun stuff despite all the craziness that we were faced with
A
this year.
Mr.
So
Sinister cake that we saved.
I mean, yeah, like I guess I don't know if there's like anything specific. Like I try and focus on the positive, but like every day has been like this year especially. I'm ready. You know, what I'm ready to kick it to the curb. All the fucking death and funerals I've had to deal with this year, and like more than any other year that I've had to deal with. Like I'm done.
Funerals.
Like it's.
Everybody, it turns out that everybody's going to live in 2017.
I hope so.
That's
We're
going to
just
be a
all gonna become
weird year.
immortal. Don't worry, we're all fucking vampires. Uh, but yeah, it's been a rough year. So like I don't know. Like I'm like I know that we get to the year we're like 2017. Yeah, it's gonna be a good year, but
I
it may
actually
not
really
be.
like New
I don't
Year's.
know.
No,
I
I know.
like New Year's too, but who
Right.
knows what's gonna actually happen.
Even though 2016 sucked though, like we were here for each other and that's something that's really cool. So I'm happy to continue to be hopeful about that. We're going to keep making stupid videos. That's a change you can rely on.
We
So
have one more email and then we're done with emails for today. and this is from somebody named Shoop, and it's a longer email, so I can't read all of it, but they wrote, one of the things I love for comfort is a radio show called The Quietest Hour. They're a little clumsy with delineating which things are a radio show and which are mixes, but it's on Mixcloud. And that it inspired them to make their own radio show. So that's actually pretty cool. And like I'll put this all into the actual description after, so you guys can see all of it. But they like wrote up like a whole description of what their thing was about, and they just really got into it. Like, you know, they were inspired by this radio show / podcast essentially, and then that's inspired them to make their own, which is really sort of awesome. And like that's a subject we've talked about extensively on the show. But I will post all that into the description, only because we're running so low on time right now. But thank you for everyone for sending in your comfort stuff, because we really need it right now. And we're going to close out with some comfort foods. And I'm just going to straight up say mac and cheese. Like, get some fucking Kraft 99-cent mac and cheese. That's my favorite. When I feel shitty, when I have a cold, like that's all I want to eat. Mm-hmm. It's my comfort food. It will always be my comfort food. Even more than pizza. I just fucking love mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's amazing. My thing that I made this week before the election was that I made a bunch of taco stuff. So I had like a bunch of meat and vegetables that were like fried up, like a huge amount of it that was just like in a Tupperware container. And then I made brown rice. And so
sounds so
basically,
good.
Instead of having tacos, I'm just having like a bed of brown rice, and then I have meat and veggies and then cheese on top. And it's like so warm and comforting to just eat, like basically sort of like a Mexican bowl. I've talked about that sort of recipe on the show before, but like it's you know, it's relatively healthy, it's super filling, it's really warm.
It's like a taco salad, which I fucking love.
It's so good. And you obviously don't have to make it with meat, and if you have avocado, you can put some avocado slices on top as well, and that's delicious.
It is. I love avocado.
Super good, and definitely a good comfort food.
Thank you everyone for tuning in today, and also for sending us your comfort stuff. It's been a very long week for many different reasons.
Yeah. But we were here and we did the show, and I'm really glad that we did it. It's always nice to see your face, Ryan.
It's nice to see you too. And we're going to keep on. The thing is that like through all this crazy shit that's happening right now, I've been very focused on making art and going forward with like a lot more stuff for Atomic Blue, and just sort of being like refocus on my art and realize how important that is to me, because it's important to other people to inspire people and inspire each other. And by doing that, you also sort of stand with your friends and family. So
yeah,
we're going to keep on doing this, and hopefully it can bring some light in some potential darkness we're about to face. So always tune in if you want to laugh and chat with us. And obviously we got the pop-up chat, and we respond to emails and tweets and everything. So
yeah, and thanks to everybody who sent us those emails and tweets and comments and everything. It's always much appreciated. Insomniacs in the morning at Gmail is our email address. You can email us anytime during the week, and
anything you want to write, anything. We'll answer questions.
We have question prompts every week, but you don't have to answer the question.
You could just, you could do whatever you want to do.
Also, atomicblueproductions.com is where all of our stuff is. We have a Patreon if you want to pay us.
If you want to donate some money, because we want to make some more stuff. If you've seen Gino and you want to see us make more high quality or higher quality, I should say, videos, we have a whole list of things that we want to do. We just haven't gotten a chance to do them. I have stuff that I got to edit and put up there. It's just been a very rough couple months.
I know, yeah. We both have things that we want to finish and put on Atomic Blue, but
yeah, and hopefully we can, if you like, if you guys like Let's Watch Two Movies,
which is my podcast with Mary Ellen,
that's also part of Atomic Blue, and you can donate to Atomic Blue's Patreon to do that. And then we can buy Mary Ellen some more better equipment, because she currently has a missing microphone, so we need to get her a new nice microphone. I could upgrade my own, so but so there's that. And so Atomic Blue Productions is our main place where you can go, and it's on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Google Plus now, Facebook. Like, it's literally everywhere. And you can subscribe to that channel, because we'll be putting more stuff up, including more throwbacks to old shit that we made a long time ago. Maddie just bought me a video camera so I can transfer all the shitty movies we made and laugh at them. Yep. So that's the next step. And we're really excited to do all those things. And you can subscribe to this channel as well, or to our iTunes account, so you can always make sure you catch us. And I think that's it. Follow us on Twitter. I'm Ryan. I'm at Ryan Pagella. Maddie's
at Mitty Myers.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys. Stay safe.
Thanks for watching.
And Try to
Keep
think
it down.
positive when you can't. All right.
Watch Futurama. That's what we say.
Yeah, watch Futurama. That will make everything better.
Bye.
Bye, guys.